It's a very interesting script, it would seem to me, and I understand somewhat autobiographical from director Adam. Can you talk a little bit about your first reactions to reading the script and then how you sort of approached playing this role?
Okay, I'm going to reveal something about myself then now. Is that I didn't actually read the script before I got the job. I auditioned based on the sides, which were just like 4 pages, and got the role. And then once they offered it to me, I then read the script before I accepted the role. So when I read the script, I was thinking that this seems like a fun thing to do, that I'd like to try, that I had an idea for the character, and I was thinking like, okay, this would be really fun for me to play, and I could really be as crazy and like, you know, not even as neurotic or like, what's the word? I don't know, I was looking for behaviors that would be interesting to play and that I felt like I could do anything with the role. Like I felt like if I wanted to scratch my armpit in a scene that I could do that and nobody would judge it. In fact, they would be like, you know what, yes, that character would do that. So I know that's such a weird explanation, but I just was excited to play it, and I felt like it could be cool. So yeah. Well,
the character's very interesting because she's extremely vulnerable, but at the same time she's never weak.
Yeah.
How did you sort of play with those two, you know, those two issues?
By being a woman. By just being, by this sheer, we are all vulnerable, just the way we're built, and we kind of have to be. Otherwise, procreation would never happen. And then also we have to be so strong just in order to keep things, just to keep our mental stability. The girl who's doing my grooming in the other room, she said this great quote, which I guess is a George Carlin quote. And it's generally that women are crazy and that men are stupid, generally. But women are crazy because men are stupid. George Carlin, I love him so much. So I think that's just, it's just an inherent thing to have that duality.
Well, tell me about the relationship between her and Zach. Like, is she messing with Zach? Is she playing, do you think she's playing what we would call mind games, or is she more just maybe confused by herself and the way that he's treating her?
Yeah, well, he's definitely, he's doing his own thing anyhow, you know what I mean? And I think she knows that on some level, and so it makes her crazy because she doesn't feel she can trust him because she can't. So I think men think that women are much more calculated than they are when we're not. And I think that she just more like wanted a companion, and like we all do, we all want somebody to hold our hand and like give us a hug from time to time, or a kiss or whatever. But I think she was just looking for that and not finding it. So I think that's why her character never gave in to his advances until, you know, later. But so yeah, I think there's a bit of his behavior begat her behavior, which was like a vicious cycle.
Right. But there was an attraction there. She is attracted to this guy.
Some aspects of him obviously are attractive to her, and I think the main thing probably for her at that point in her life was the idea of stability and comfort because he's financially secure. So although she's not impressed with that, otherwise she would have slept with him.
Right. So
it's a little bit of a lot of different things. So he probably was impressed with her that she wasn't impressed with the things that normally get a woman into bed.
Right.
So yeah.
About working with Lucas, tell me about that and sort of how you guys were able to kind of orchestrate the relationships and the scenes.
It just was so natural and fun working with Lucas. He's so talented and has been working for so many years. I also started when I was a child, and so did he. And I think that there's a natural, from my perspective, I was like, well, we'll at least have that child actor thing that is an unusual bonding, but anyone that I've worked with who has started that young, I've had it with them. I think we're just a different breed of circus performer. And I get along with that type of person, so it naturally worked out very well.
Yeah, excellent. Well, finally, I just wanted to ask you about working with Adam, the director, and sort of his vision for the project, and you know, on a day-to-day basis, kind of what his set is like.
Well, there's a lot of scenes in the movie that are really rapey. They're not rape because actual sex doesn't happen, there's no intercourse, but the scenes are rapey, and he showed us this one scene from, I believe it was Husbands, John Cassavetes movie, and he's like, I want it to be like this, like where you're falling all over the place, and it's kind of a little bit playful, but still it's like, you know, I want the whole interaction between you guys to be like this, and I was like, that's so awesome, and he told me to watch a couple other movies, and if a director has a vision, even to aspire to be, I love John Cassavetes and was introduced to him because Adam was like, watch these movies. And
was that kind of a prototype for Crazy Eyes?
I don't think it was a prototype, but it definitely, obviously, was an influence for Adam, and definitely we all, like if a band is making an album and they're like, okay, we want it to sound like Radiohead and the Beatles, it's gonna be on while they're making music. So, it definitely was an influence, and I was so inspired when I saw them. I kind of fell in love with acting again when I saw Woman Under the Influence, because Jen Rollins is so brilliant, and it was cool to have permission to aspire to that, you know, and a lot of times even in movies or auditions, it's like you are in a box and you're not allowed to explore, you're not allowed to play, you're not allowed to do a lot of different things, but for this, I was given free rein, and I felt that, and to have that kind of support, it does grow you as an actor, because you trust yourself, and that's the most important thing in life.
I just want to follow up, because you did mention sort of the violence in the film. Was there, what was it like actually shooting those scenes? I mean, were there sort of safe words between? Oh, it was hilarious. So that helped the kind of humor.
I think Lucas was never. I mean, I think Adam had to tell him to be more rapey, because he's not like that. You know, he's such like.
Is that a word that was used on set a lot? Rapey, as opposed to.
Rapey was a word that was used on set. I think I was the first one to. I was like, this is really rapey. But Adam was like, yeah, more rapey. And like Lucas, it was almost hard for him to be as aggressive as he even was, which wasn't even still that aggressive. I've been in other scenes with people who are more aggressive than that.
As a woman, are you comfortable with that when the director says more rapey? Like,
I know completely that I'm safe, and also knowing the actor you're working with is huge. So with Lucas, it's like he would never hurt a fly, and I don't think he would ever do anything to even squeeze my arm too tight. You know, I would be more worried about like me hurting him even in a scene, by me fighting that much.
Right.
And I was never uncomfortable. I always knew I was safe. I always knew that, you know, that we're just trying to make the scene as good as it can be.